Hey, so in today's Temples, Tombs and Treasures, we're going to be looking at Egyptian gods and what's going to happen by the end. Yes, you are going to create your own. So let's start like we always do with two top facts. And today I'm going to tell you that cats were considered as sacred animals by the ancient Egyptians. And it's thought that most families kept a cat as a pet, which they believed would bring their house very good luck. And the reason we know this is not only because of the Sphinx looking statues, but also because cats were mummified too. So archaeologists believe that they were sacred. The other top fact was Egyptians didn't really have much furniture, and people in ancient Egypt used to use stone as pillows or wooden headrests. So back then, the ancient Egyptians used headrests made from wood or stone. They didn't have nice, comfy pillows like we did, or we do, should I say. Alrighty, so the ancient Egyptians worshipped over 2,000 deities. 2,000! There were more than 2,000 gods in ancient Egypt. Most took the forms of humans. So, what we mean by that is most looked like a human, but many of them had animal heads. They had deities for absolutely everything. They had deities for protection, they had deities for love, for the weather, but also for things like helping you do the daily chores. They believed it was vital to worship everything for a good life and a chance to make it into the afterlife. And we know that the afterlife means when you are dead. When you die, what happens to your body and your spirit and your soul. So let's take a little look at some of the Egyptian gods. Here are 10 kind of cartoon character pictures, and you can see exactly what we mean. They look quite human-like apart from their heads, and we're going to discover more about some of these gods. So the first one is a mummified man wearing a white cone-like headdress with feathers. It was a god of the dead and the ruler of the underworld. So this is the god of the dead. Horus was a man with the head of a hawk. Horus was the god of the sky. He is probably most well known as the protector of the ruler of Egypt. The Egyptians believed that the pharaoh was the living Horus. So pharaohs were like kings, and they believed that they were kind of descendants from the gods. And what that means is Horus was like the living, the pharaoh was like Horus, and was the protector. Now, many of you have already met this one when we looked at mummification. So the reason Anubis was the god of embalming and the dead. So he wasn't the ruler of the dead like the first one. What he was, it was in charge of kind of once the body had died. And jackals, so his face is a bit like a jackal, were often seen near cemeteries. So they believed that he watched over you. Ra, man with a hawk head and a headdress with the sun disk. So this is the sun disk, and this is the hawk thing. Ra was the sun god. He was the most important god of the ancient Egyptians. So apparently this was the most important one, Ra. The ancient Egyptians believed that Ra was swallowed every night by the sky goddess Nut and was reborn every morning. Why do you think Ra was swallowed every night? Why might the ancient Egyptians have believed that? Have a think, and I'd love you to tell me. She was a woman, and she had a headdress in the shape of a throne and a pair of cow horns, which you can't really see clearly in this picture, and a sun disk. She was the protective goddess. She used powerful magic and spells to help people in need. That's lovely, isn't it? To help people in need. She was the wife of Osiris and the mother of Horus. Another one. So Hathor was a woman with ears of a cow, and she had a headdress with horns and a sun disk. She was another protective goddess. She was the goddess of love and joy. That's nice, isn't it? So you've got a few research opportunities. When you click on the links, they will open up and you can have a look at some amazing videos and websites to help you think of yours. On Seesaw today, you've got 3 tasks. Number 1, guess the god. Number 2, answer the questions. Number 3, create your own god or goddess. Now we know with that part, it's got to look like a human with an animal head. But I want you to think more about that. I want you to think what your goddess is the kind of protector of as well. But we'll come on to that later. All right, so first job. I'm going to give you a god or goddess and some clues about them. And then what you need to do is put a tick to decide which god is shown in the picture. So, Osiris was the god of the dead and husband of Isis. He is shown wearing the white linen wrapping from a mummy. He wears a white crown with large feathers. Although he was the god of the underworld, Egyptians still liked him for helping people pass on to the next life. So, which one do you think he is? Put a tick. And you can see I've done that for every single one. So here's another god, and this is the goddess of war, fire, and medicine. She has the head of a lion. She was the best hunter known to Egyptians, and her breath is said to have created the desert. So which one could that be? Which one has the head of a lion? And so on. So you understand what you've got to do. You've got to choose the right god or goddess. And there's quite a few to choose from. So make sure you read these carefully. Then I would like you to answer the questions. What was special about Amun? Well, you will know that if you've had a look at his thing. So you will see his name here. You need to tell me what was important about him. And it says, Amun was an important god because da, 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 da. But I'm not going to tell you why. Who created hieroglyphics? Who was married to Thoth? What was the name of the first mummy? Why do you think the pictures were included? Why did I give you the pictures? And in which kind of book would you expect this? Okay, so you've got to use the clues from here as well as your own knowledge to answer those. And then last but not least, you're going to see a page like this. So what I want you to do is I want you to create your own god or goddess. I want you to think very carefully about what your god or goddess was the protector of and also what they might have looked like. So for example, if we go back to these pictures, you can use these to help you out. Hathor was the goddess of love, music, and dance. So maybe if you were to create a god of music and dance, maybe they could have an instrument. And which kind of musical or which animal might have a kind of musical theme to it? Or for example, if you look at these ones, like look how gorgeous this is. So this is a human head, but with the wings of a bird. So think about that and look how they've got the jewelry around the neck. What could your god or goddess look like? Any problems? You know that you can come to your teachers in the IPC drop-in.